So, hello and welcome. Today I'm speaking with author Tim Wilde on the subject of Atlantis Rising. Now, Tim is an expert in the field of ascension and spiritual progression. Tim, along with Diana Cooper, has co-authored the book The Archangel Guide to Ascension, and today we're speaking on one of his favourite subjects, Atlantis Rising. So, Tim, welcome to you.
Good morning, Stephen. Thanks for having me back on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I loved the last chat we had, so glad to have you back, really.
It went really well, and I'm very honoured to be talking about this subject. I mean, like we discussed before, Atlantis is a vast subject, so I'll be covering what I would consider very kind of like pertinent bullet points this morning. So, yeah, let's get rolling.
Let's go. Well, okay. Well, just to cast the kind of net wide, can you just give us a brief history of Atlantis from your perspective?
From my perspective, Atlantis was a continent, or I'll use the words experiment, that existed for 260,000 years, Steve. As far as our information serves us, it was the start of physical life as we know it in the bodies that we have, and it ran as... Going right back to the very start, there was a clarion call that was placed throughout the universe by the Intergalactic Council, who were requiring souls to come to planet Earth in its 3D form and set up this Atlantean experiment, basically starting from scratch with very little tools on the surface of planet Earth within the designated zone. And the idea was to set up a spiritual community that would achieve the highest vibration possible underneath the circumstances. So if you see what I mean, there was groups of souls who were coming to Earth, and their intention was to live on planet Earth, which was very solid and had a very 3D environment at this particular time. And they were building from scratch to raise their vibration as high as possible. Now, over the 260,000 year period, there were 5 separate experiments. Each time Atlantis it flourished and it became evolved, and people achieved what they wanted to achieve, something went wrong and the energy spiraled downhill, and the Intergalactic Council designated that it would be scrapped and started again. Now, as you can imagine, this was very challenging for the souls that incarnated there, and for the purposes of everybody that are listening at the moment, almost every single person who's currently on planet Earth, apart from the very, very new children, have all had at least one lifetime in Atlantis. So this is why these cellular memories occur. This is why people feel the call or the pull back to the Atlantean times. Now, what I would like to focus on is a 1,500-year period that occurred in the 5th and the final experiment. Now, as far as our planetary evolution is concerned, this wasn't actually that long ago. It's about 12 to 15,000 years ago, which, considering how long Earth has existed and life on Earth has existed in whatever form, it really is a very, very short time. Now, for 1,500 years, during this last golden period, the high priests and the priestesses and the lovely people of Atlantis managed to achieve a 5th dimensional vibration. They managed to focus their spirituality. They managed to evolve on a societal level. Their technology was amazing, and they reached the peaks of a physical vibration in the bodies that they had, very much like we're doing at the moment. And they maintained it, for 1,500 years, 1,500 years. During that period of time, we had incredible access to crystal technology. The whole of Golden Atlantis was run on crystal technology, and society ran very, very smoothly. Their vibrations were as high as they possibly could be in a physical body at this time. Now, this is the period of time which I consider, and Diana has written about this as well. This is the period of time that a blueprint for our current ascension process was established. This is why I consider it so important, because what they did then, we are recreating now. What they essentially did was pave the way for our ascension process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
So, and obviously at the end of this period, something occurred, and the technology, the light, the information that the Atlanteans had together kind of manifested, somebody chose to use that for selfish purposes, and again for the final time the energy spiraled downhill. This is when Atlantis sank for the fifth and the final time. Now it didn't end there. Okay, now when Atlantis sank 10 to 12,000 years ago, there's the dates roughly at 10,000 years ago, Atlantis sank for the fifth and the final time. That was not the end of the experiment. There was a winding down period of 10,000 years, which actually concluded on the 21st of December 2012, which was the cosmic moment. That is when the experiment was completely concluded as far as the Intergalactic Council and the people that had organised it was concerned. And we moved into the next era, the golden era, the era that we're now moving through on the ascension process. So the two roll into each other very, very nicely. And what I'm hoping to focus on this, we mentioned in the pre-chat that a lot of people remember the fall, which was obviously incredibly traumatizing. This is kind of where people quite often will have a cellular memory that is associated with bad memories of water or explosions, or they will have had memories brought back to them involuntarily through their own processing, or given back to them by soul readers, where they will be almost holding responsibility for what happened on a negative level. And I've considered it my job, since I've started doing what I'm doing, to actually kind of dispel that side of it and focus on the very, very positive side of Atlantis, this 1,500-year period where we all had at least one lifetime and established a mastery blueprint for ourselves, which is actually an incredible spiritual feat to achieve in a physical body at that particular period of time. So, and in doing so, I've actually uncovered a lot of memories for myself. I've remembered several, really, it's lovely to look at it, because it's just the memories are almost as it is. I can't differentiate between now and yesterday, if you see what I mean. That's how clear the memories are. Yeah. And the majority of the Ascension tools and the work that I brought through have all been associated with that particular lifetime in Atlantis that I had as a high priest. So it's very, very important to me. I mean, other people have different spectrums of association and importance, but for me, it was incredibly poignant to my current Ascension process and what I'm going through at the moment, and the work that I've brought through for people to be using. And that's, if you look at my website, www.timwild.com, there's a lot of tools and a lot of information there which can be very effectively used now to promote the ascension process, raise your levels of energy and vibration. But the template of them was formulated in Atlantis. Yeah, if you see what I mean.
That template is available to us now, and this is part of the work you're doing, is connecting, I guess, people to that blueprint of Golden Atlantis. Yeah,
I mean, funny enough, it's kind of how the whole thing is rolling out anyway. This is something that they're doing it themselves and possibly not even realising that they're doing it. It's a master blueprint. I mean, obviously, we're all individuals going through the ascension process, and we're all finding different ways of doing it. This is my particular slant on doing it. This is something that I've found works very, very effectively. And of course, there's a lot of people that do have these cellular memories of Atlantis and have been very drawn back to it. And because of the importance, I believe, of moving away from the kind of the negative aspects of the fall and what went wrong, and people feeling guilty or having, actual experiences in real time where they've reconnected with that energy and almost experienced the bad side of it again, what I've focused on is reconnecting them to the good side. And in that case, when you reconnect to that energy, time and space becomes irrelevant. You re-immerse with that timeline very, very rapidly, and it enables us to reach in, grab an energy that was very, very positive, and bring it through and establish it in this lifetime now.
Yeah. Can you say something about some of the gifts and tools available for people now that they can kind of pull back into this lifetime?
Well, it's one of the things that is always available. One of the things that are always available are the master lifetimes that people have had when they've served in a spiritual form previously in other incarnations. It doesn't matter whether it's in Atlantis or whether it is in another format. This is found and accessed via your soul star chakra, we've discovered, as we're working with the higher chakras on the Ascension process. Now, the soul star chakra is found 6 inches above the top of the head, and I almost consider it like a storage locker for your spiritual heritage. And in previous meditations, I've had the opportunity to take people into the soul star chakra so they can re-access their master lifetimes. Now, anybody can do this. If you're working with your higher chakras, if you're working with the 12 chakras that are now basically part of our ascended makeup, and everybody has got this ascended makeup that we're working with at the moment, you can reach in and you can re-access your master lifetimes, your blueprint. And just for quite a long period of time, I've been working with that Ascension blueprint from Atlantis because it is so effective at raising our vibration very, very rapidly. So that's how it's been done.
Okay. So a lot of people are on this ascension path now, but not everyone is kind of looking back to Atlantis to... Not
at all, no.
Yeah.
I mean, just one particular point of focus, because I think what inspired me to really look into it was because it was my personal wake up that was completely based around Atlantis. When I personally... and I was already awake. I mean, I'd been friends with Diana Cooper for a considerable period of time, but I don't know whether I mentioned it in the last talk or not. I went through a huge life change in 2008.
Yeah.
And, while I was sat there kind of re-establishing why this had occurred to me, because my life was just changed overnight, basically. I was living back at my mother's with all of my clothes in bin liners, wondering what had hit me, kind of thing. And this was at the point where Diana kind of turned around and said, look, I'm receiving information about you that's very important. You were a high priest in Atlantis, and the work that you were doing then is coming back through now. You are re-establishing this blueprint in your physical lifetime as Tim Wilde. So, what you did then is now very important to now, because... the first tool I was given back was the Blue Star Seal of Atlantis. This is what Archangel Michael presented to me one day. I was sat meditating in my new bedroom around at my mother's house in 2008, and he appeared to me in my bedroom in front of me. I could see him clearly within my third eye. I could almost reach out and touch him. And he said, well, you've got to stop calling on me to do all your stuff. I love you. I love you dearly. Of course, I'll protect you if you need me to do, but you need to take responsibility for your own ascension process. You need to do this stuff yourself. And he said, this is your Blue Star Seal of Atlantis. It belonged to you in Atlantis when you were a high priest there, and he gave it back to me by placing it within my soul star chakra, 6 inches above my head. And I then watched as the energy cascaded around me in this bright blue form, and almost the only way to describe it is seal me in a cocoon of energy which kept my vibration fifth dimensional regardless of what was going on around me, which was the first piece of work that I wrote down and then that Diana Cooper put out on her blog in 2013. So it was the first piece that came back to me, and it was the first piece that was released as an introduction to what I'm here to do. So it was very important.
Great. I know you're also connected with Thoth the Atlantean. Is Thoth someone that a lot of people are also connected with, or not so many people?
I personally believe that the name Thoth is incredibly well known in Atlantis and in ancient Chem. But I believe that Thoth is a soul comprising of many different lifetimes. I'm having one of those lifetimes at the moment, which is then adding to the overall pool of knowledge and wisdom that is accumulated within the Thoth soul. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
It's a name. It's names to describe individuals are sometimes they've, like human beings have got to put names with energies a lot of the time to kind of explain to themselves what they're receiving, but a lot of the time we only receive a tiny aspect of what is actually a vast energy. So there was a high priest who lived in Atlantis during the Golden Era who went by the name of Thoth, or the name I received was Teotame at the time. But I mean, it's almost like Chinese whispers when people start receiving information, because it goes through your own filter and your own spectrum. But this is what I personally have brought through, and I was also told by several different sources who were unconnected with each other. So it's but almost on a name level, it's slightly irrelevant. It's the energy and the work and the information that are important to our current processes at the moment. So this is what I've been focusing on. And it was incredible at the time that the blue star seal of Atlantis belongs to Thoth in Atlantis back in the good old days, and this was now being reused. I'm now using this again for the same intent and purposes that it was used for 15,000 years ago.
Yeah. Well, can you say something about the blue star? What uses do you put it to?
Right. Well, if I activate my blue star seal, which I do most mornings, it's because I am wishing to maintain a fifth dimensional frequency wherever I go.
Yeah.
Now, I could be going to Tesco's, which might be full of stressed out people who have not got particularly light, high and fine vibrations. Now, if I walk in there with my blue star seal active, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, because I'm managing to maintain my own biosphere of energy during my visit. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah,
but in the process of doing so, in maintaining my fifth dimensional biosphere of energy, I am also positively affecting the other people around me, because they are rising to my vibration as opposed to the other way around, which is something which has commonly affected light workers predominantly, so from the second they wake up or realise that they're sensitive beings, as people with light, high, fine vibrations can really struggle in dense environments. Well, this was just one way of effectively turning the tables and allowing me to maintain my light and my vibration and put it in a format where I can leave the house and actually be so bright, so light and so high in frequency that everything else around me can rise to my vibration instead of the other way round, which is usually the way it's been when people go out and they're sensitive and they struggle with these dense frequencies. And it's just one way of doing it. I mean,
sounds a very useful way, a very useful tool.
It worked like an absolute charm, Steve. It really did.
Is that in the Archangel Guide to Ascension? I think I remember.
It is. Yeah. Now, the interesting part about it was when Archangel Michael returned this gift to me in 2008, one of the first things that he said to me, frustratingly enough, was, "You cannot release this information until I give you the nod." Now, the first thing I did was I verified it with Diana. I said, "Look, I've got to talk to somebody about this. I can't just completely keep it a secret." And he said, "No, obviously Diana is you are a team. You're going to be working together. You can speak to her. You can trust us, kind of thing, because she's on your page, if you know what I mean." So I went and said, I didn't go to work immediately that morning. I went straight to Diana and I said, "Look, I've received something which I would consider very important, but can you verify it for me just to check that I'm not going completely bonkers, because obviously I've just been through quite a life change, and this is intense stuff." And she checked the blue star seal within my fields and said, "This is absolutely authentic. I can see it and I can feel it myself."
Amazing.
And it was at that point she started receiving more information about me from Archangel Metatron, and that was the start of the Atlantean adventure. But like I said, the idea behind it was we couldn't tell anybody about this Atlantean technology until the collective frequency on Earth had risen high enough for it to be released to everybody else.
Yeah.
You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Because one of the main things that happened at the fall of Atlantis was the tools, the technology, the energies, the information, they were removed as Earth went into a 10,000-year dark period, that period that we've just been through for 10,000 years, where the third dimension has been thoroughly explored. Yeah. But we've done it in a very limited form. We've done it with 7 chakras, and we've done it very disconnected from source. Yeah. And also we had a lot of our spiritual gifts and our knowledge and our information almost just hidden away from us until we were ready to receive it again, which in 1987, at the start of the harmonic convergence, that's when the energy started returning, because the light was returning to Earth in readiness for the ascension process. Right. It's all happened in kind of a very set up, premeditated and chronological order. So if you can see how it's all panned out. Yeah.
Well, you said that the experiment of Atlantis has kind of been wound up in 2012. Is that experiment completely finished, or is there a kind of reignition of Atlantis in a sense?
That particular aspect of the experiment, the Atlantean experiment, has completely concluded, and it concluded as the third dimension on Earth ended. And we're now in the fourth dimension. We're in a completely different era now. Yeah. And obviously the game plan is to take the Earth and all of the inhabitants on it through the ascension process in a very rapid and short space of time, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah. And we're using information and knowledge and templates and gifts and wisdom that we already have under our belts. Otherwise, we'd be flying blind, effectively. We'd be doing this job without... Do you see where I'm coming from? It's like we've come down here to do a very specific job at this particular point in time, and we're all very well equipped for this job, even though the world out there might appear to be quite a daunting place at the moment. There's a lot of changes going on, but there's also a lot of very, very positive things happening. Particularly on an ascending level. The human beings that are awake and spiritually evolving on planet Earth at this particular period of time are making incredibly fast moving progress. I mean, far faster than I would have predicted 4 years ago when I knew this was really starting. The curve is colossal. The actual amount of light that we're integrating, the amount of open hearts that are popping up literally everywhere all around the globe, it's happening at an incredible rate. This is the positive thing. But with this occurs change, to re-establish what we're looking for is almost a recreation of Atlantis in its best and most glorious time, but without any of the potential mistakes to be made, because we've already made mistakes. Mistakes were made to be learned and moved on from. And the fact that there will be no third dimensional matrix vibration for human beings to kind of fall back into. It's almost like that era is done and gone. There's no more third dimension to fall back into again. This is all forward moving and very, very positive. All we're doing is actually collapsing effectively the old matrix constructions so that we can move into this bright, fresh, clear energy. But it just feels and seems sometimes to people to be quite an oppressive period, because there is so much work to be done and there is so much change happening. You see what I mean? It's easy to fall into the fear patterning because that fear patterning is available. In actual fact, what we're doing is moving forward very, very quickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah. In terms of the ascension process, the planet's in the fourth dimension. Where do you see it kind of hitting the fifth? I mean, some parts may already be in the fifth, I suppose.
Absolutely, Steve. Yeah, I mean, there's 7.4 billion people roughly on this planet at the moment. Now, wherever you've got somebody holding a fifth dimensional vibration, that area is fifth dimensional. Right. Because our capacity to light up our surroundings is what is making this ascension process move so quickly. The power of an open heart is one of the most powerful forces on the whole of the face of the planet. So once you've got somebody who's awake, once you've got somebody who's resonating at a high vibration and they have control of that vibration, one of the things that we used to be taught in Atlantis was vibrational, is how to control our energy, how to maintain frequency and vibration. So this is something we're relearning to do again very rapidly, is to raise that light and hold it, not just hold it for 5 minutes and then kind of go back to our old patterns again. And where these fifth dimensional pockets are being maintained, the vibration is becoming very well established, and we're finding that there are, like you said, very high frequency pockets and other pockets that are moving through the change process, that are being cleared, and the density is being released from the land, the karma's being done in what, it's being worked through in whatever way is appropriate, and then the people are going through the wake up process themselves. So it's a staggered affair. It's happening in as fast a time as possible, but remembering that people have got to wake up and they've got to do so in their own time. Otherwise it's too jarring for the soul, so to speak.
Yeah. Got a meditation for our listeners, so
indeed, yeah.
I'll let you chat about that.
Now, this is a meditation I wrote last year, and it is based on my own personal memories of Atlantis. There's two that I wrote last year. One is actually on the second CD, the Archangel Guide to Enlightenment CD, which accompanies the new book that Diana and I wrote last year, or this year. It was released this year in February 2016. But this one is one that I haven't released yet on audio. This is called Temple of the Inner Sun, and it revisits a temple that many of the listeners will be familiar with, because when we spend time in a place in a previous lifetime that is dear to our heart, or added a lot of light to our soul at that particular time, those memories don't go away. They are ingrained within our cellular structure. So the idea of this is to trigger a memory. Now, for those who are listening, it's not vital whether you associate with this particular memory or not. If you don't remember it, it doesn't matter. What is important is that you are reconnecting your energy with that particular period of time, because it allows a doorway to open with a big flood of positive energy coming through. So it's like we're reaching in and reclaiming light, which is waiting for us. So when you're ready, I'm going to start reading through this, Steve.
Yeah, we're ready when you are, Tim. Yeah.
Okay, well, this is called Temple of the Inner Sun. So if you just, everybody listening, just relax, breathe deeply, and see yourself surrounded by pure, iridescent golden light. And breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, and just allow your bodies to fully and completely relax. And just feel this powerful light, which is the gold ray of Christ, washing through every cell of your being. Allow it to wash through your physical, mental, emotional and spiritual bodies. And as you begin to brighten very rapidly, be aware that this ninth dimensional download is releasing any density that you may have within your energetic matrix. And just focus on your breath. And beautiful golden dragons are joining you. These are solar dragons created from the fires of Helios. And they are here to take anything that is available that you wish to give away or be rid of, and return it immediately to Source. Invite them into your bodies and fields and ask them to take your energies to the highest level possible. See the dragons moving clockwise and anti-clockwise around you in beautiful spirals of energy. And just allow yourself to completely relax as the dragons do this gentle but powerful clearing work. And soon, with every breath, you become a chalice of complete purity. And once again focusing upon your breathing. Every in-breath and every out-breath, you are now becoming more connected with the light of your heart center. It is pure white, but mixed with radiant gold. Just feel this expanding. You are your heart, and your heart is you. And as this connection is growing and deepening, your inner vision and your reality is starting to change. And you are on a boat now, out at sea, floating gently towards a sandy shore. The boat is sturdy but simple, and it is guided by a current that flows and ebbs around you. The sun above you shines warm and brightly. The sky is blue, and the water deep and crystal clear. As you are floating towards the shore, you see a figure dressed in bright orange standing there ready to greet you. On the front of his robe is the symbol of a golden sun. You are moving directly towards him, and you can see that he is smiling at you. You even get the impression that he may be drawing your boat towards him with the power of his mind. And your boat touches the shore, and he helps you out onto the soft, warm sand. As your feet touch the beach, you see that your body is also surrounded by robes of the same design. The material is comfortable, loose-fitting, and perfect for the heat of the day. This man introduces himself to you as Master Vuzlu, a high priest of golden Atlantis. As he turns to lead you up the beach, you see a bright flash of gold coming from his aura. The light he emits is clearly visible. And you now walk together side by side, and he welcomes you back to the island of Poseida. Now, the island of Poseida was the home to many great priests and priestesses of the Atlantean era, and you were one of them. Today he explains that you are returning to the south side of the island to experience the power of your own internal light. And walking together, you move through some eucalyptus groves, and you reach a pure white marble pathway. The pathway starts to wind itself gently uphill, and after a short climb you are introduced to the most incredible sight. The building in front of you is a crystal pyramid shining brightly in the sun. 4 golden orbs circle above the peak high in the air, reflecting light into the top of the pyramid. The technology here is clearly greatly advanced. And prompted by Master Vuzlu, you now enter a doorway. The inside of the pyramid is filled with lush plants and water features, and souls dressed in orange move about their various tasks, tending to different jobs. There seems to be no rush or hurry. Everything is done with divine reverence. And with Vuzlu, you start to walk up some winding crystal stairs. And you are moving through the floors of the interior to the top of the pyramid. The upper levels appear to be accommodation, each room looking out upon the sea or island landscape with a magnificent view. Near the top of the pyramid is a golden walkway leading to a chamber that is directly under the apex. And prompted by Vuzlu, you enter a sacred room. He explains to you that the pyramid is the temple of the inner sun, and that the room you are in is the inner light synthesis chamber. When you have a look around, and it is a simple room with 4 crystal sides allowing perfect 360-degree vision all around you. You are high above the sea level and the view is stunning. The island of Poseidon, Atlantis, lies behind you, and the sea stretches out in front, the sun creating golden sparkles all around. And Lord Vooslu invites you to be seated in the centre of the room now. Your chair is comfortable and very relaxed. And the armrests have crystal for you to place your hands upon at the end. And as you make contact with this crystal, it turns into a cool liquid reshaping around your hands. Now, Lord Vooslu bids you to relax. Close your eyes fully and bring your attention to your heart center once again. And as you move your focus, you feel every cell of your body starting to light up with vibrating cosmic light. The apex of the pyramid is drawing in pure light codes and vibrations from far away stellar constellations. And you may become aware of the soft trickles of these codes starting to mix and merge with the cells of your body. And there are hints of all different star systems here, so tune in now to the bright blue healing light of the Pleiades, the golden Christed light of Lyra, the pure white luminosity of Orion, the deep and wide Ascension knowledge of Sirius, the technological marvels of Arcturus, and the unconditional love of Andromeda, and also the ascended aspects of all our own planetary system, and most prominently the 9th dimensional light of the galactic spiritual suns, Helios and Vesta. There may be others that come to you also, so just be open and ready to receive this divine flow of light. And just allow and feel all of these light codes integrating and activating the blueprint for your ascended cosmic master self. And as you begin to glow brighter and brighter, feel the vestiges of your 4th veil of amnesia starting to completely dissolve. And as you move further and deeper into this cosmic flow of light, you become aware of the fact that all of this light is already an intricate part of your soul matrix. The connections to all corners of the multiverse have always been within you. So feel this deepest integration, allowing your light to now expand all boundaries of conscious reality. At this moment, right now, you are all that is. And all that is you. Now, still aware of where you are, you now hear Vooslu's voice speaking to you through your meditative state. Beloved Master of Light, you have now walked the length of your initial ascension pathway. Much has been learned, much has been experienced, and much has been achieved. You are now in a reality where you are embracing who you truly are, your ego dissolving and your heart opening like a pure white rose. This is your choice, your journey to represent your facet of galactic light in the celebration of Earth's ascension. Take this vibration, this cosmic inner light, back to your reality. For wave 3 of the ascension process is about to begin. Now you slowly bring your attention back to your heart center, every cell glowing, and Vuslu greets you with a smile. And leaving the pyramid with Master Vuslu, you realize you have been part of an everyday activation for the priesthood of Atlantis. Light was embraced and maintained daily during the Golden Era. And soon after a short walk, you are back upon the beach once again, and just before you leave, Vuslu hands you a gift. Placing his hand upon your stellar gateway chakra a meter above your head, you feel a current of his light running down through your chakra system, down through your soul star, 6 inches above the top of your head, your causal, just above your crown itself, your third eye, your throat, your heart, your solar plexus, your navel, your sacral, your base, and down your legs and into your earth star below the soles of your feet, all lit up and fully activated. Just take a few moments to feel, sense and see this before bidding Vuslu thanks and farewell, and return to your boat floating on the bright warm sea. When you are ready, grounded and glowing, open your eyes and return to where you are sat.